Those rhythm riffs you just heard me play demonstrate 3 ways that you can perform the same chord changes. There was a bar chord version, an open chord version, and then there was the riff version. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to play all 3 of them and how to start thinking about rhythm guitar in a brand new way. The way to amazing rhythm guitar riffs. But first, before we get started, a quick word about my Handouts Collection ebook offer. Do you want an amazing guitar book that's perfect for any guitarist at any level? Well, here's how to get yourself a copy of the Creative Guitar Studio Handouts Collection ebook. It's easy to do with any donation of $5 or more made on the creativeguitarstudio.com website. You'll instantly receive a copy of this 100-page guitar lesson ebook. It's jam-packed full of chords, scales, arpeggios, music theory, and technique drills. Join the thousands of guitar players who've already received their copy of this amazing lesson book. Just head to creativeguitarstudio.com/donations to donate and download your copy today. We're going to get things started with the most popular rhythm guitar idea going on out there, and it is bar chords. It's what we all want to develop as a student of guitar, because we know once we got our bar chords down, we can cover everything nicely, laterally along the guitar. We can play in our favorite bands around the neighborhood, make some money in the clubs. It's really great. We know 90% of what we do as a guitar player is play rhythm guitar. So once you got your bar chords down, man, you can cover pretty much any tune. Now, in these examples that I got going on here, they're all A minor. I got an A minor chord starting things off in the 5th position, dropping down to a G in 3rd as a major, and then down to F in the 1st position as a bar chord down in the 1st there. And then what we're going to do is return back up, have an A minor again, G once again. But then we're going to punch up to kind of like a Dorian effect here with a D major chord rolling in right at the end. So you put it all together and you got a really nice jam here. All right, so that's our bar chord example. Pretty straightforward. A lot of guitar players, they practice this for hours and hours so that they can get their bar chording 100%. It's really valuable because once you got it down, like I said, you could play like, a gazillion tunes. Now, around bar chording, another cool effect that we've got is playing down out of the open position. I should really say kind of like open and 1st fret, because a lot of the chords that we have down here, they're going to have open strings involved with them, so we can kind of justify the name as an open position chord. But a lot of them too just have stuff set up off the 1st fret, like F major for instance, and that's not using any open strings. But the sound and the effect overall that we get with open strings added in and the low end of the neck, it's going to be a lot of string distance and string length to us, so we get a really big boomy sound out of open chords. They sound fantastic, obviously on an acoustic guitar. But one of the things I also like about playing around open position is the option too of having a lot of cool inverted options coming your way. So what I did here in this progression was I did A minor as standard open position A minor. Then I added in a G chord but with B in the bass. So the B is the lowest tone, so 1st inversion of the G major chord. And then I did a 2nd inversion of our F chord, keeping C in the bass. So it puts the 5th of the chord in the bass. So that's pretty cool, A minor, G with B in the bass, and then F with C in the bass. Totally different effect and sound. It's all harmonized well, though. It's going to work as an option. You could layer these sounds. I'm going to demonstrate that in just a moment with a jam track. But let's move on to the second half of this thing. I've got A minor coming up again with that G with B in the bass. But then another cool thing about open position is we do have the option for some pretty right-on sounds with power chords. I got a big open G with lots of open strings there. It's a power chord though, it's just a 5th chord, root and 5th, G and D notes all the way. And then what we're going to do after that is bring in this nice classic D major. Who doesn't love it? D major open position chord. They sound so nice. So I'm going to play the same progression again, but now with these open chords. Check it out. sweet sound out of those open chords. I want to take this to another level though, because that first batch of bar chords, I've got that on a jam loop. If you're one of my Patreon members, you're going to get this as the download for this lesson right here over on Patreon. You can check out all that stuff over at patreon.com/Creative Guitar Studio. Here is the loop track that you're going to get if you're a member over there. These are all just the same chords we've just been jamming on, but they're the bar chords. I'm going to layer the opens above them. Check it out. Really nice sound. That layering is so cool, man. You know, when you put over top of some the bar chording with some of the open sounds, it's like you get a whole brand new effect coming out of it, and it is great. It's great stuff. Definitely, you're going to want to learn how to do that stuff, because if you're in a band with two guitar players, or even a guitar player and a piano player, this layering option, man, it's like you got to learn how to do it. So anyway, these are pretty commonplace stuff. You know, if you're around, you know, intermediate level of guitar playing, you probably have some pretty decent command over this stuff that I'm going over here right now on bar chords and open chords. But the next thing I'm going to show you, this is where it boots up to amazing level, like killer riffs level. So what I'm going to show you here next is a riff-based idea that's covering all this chord harmony. It's the exact same chord progression, but we're doing some new things. So I want to start off here by just playing you the riff by itself. I'm going to warn you on this one, I'm going to be using a lot of hybrid picking, so a lot of middle finger with ring finger plucking at the string sets. I want to get a nice pop sound out of those strings. Here's the riff though. All right, so on its own, it's a little bit thin, but what's really cool about it is you can tell this thing layered with some of our other work, and you're gonna hear it right away when I fire up the jam loop. This is just killer. Like, I mean, if you're a second guitar player in a band and you got somebody already just covering those basic bar chords, it is just so rich to add this type of sound in. It just comes across as completely amazing. So I think what I'd like to do is demonstrate this with the jam track to you next, and then we're going to kind of break it down here. I'm going to show it to you. You probably caught that there's some pentatonic licks and some scale lines and runs in there. But first of all, let me just fire up the jam loop and get this thing rolling. And over top of it, coming up right away, I'm going to play all the riff ideas for you. Here we go. So as you can tell with the layering of the rhythm riff now, it's just smoking. It sounds so good to have these punches of all the smaller intervals going on and the runs coming around with all the scale parts added in. So let's talk about this a little bit. And you know, you're probably wondering, like, how do you build these things? They seem kind of like crazy, but no, they're not. They're actually really simple. What we're doing is we're taking into consideration a couple things here. Number one, I want to understand the fact that I'm in A minor. So I want to understand like some of the, you know, ways that I'm going to use a few smaller intervals based out of the chords that I do have of A minor, G, F, and the D major. So I want to understand how I can go along the neck with those and maybe find some really small, you know, parts of those chords that I can punch. Well, one of the easiest ways to do that is just go off the root, and I'm going to grab a root here on 7th fret fourth string to get the A. I'm going to add in a minor effect on that, so I've got A and C together now. Dropping down, I'm going to get G and B together to give me my major on the G major sound, and then just F and A together to form the sound of the F major harmony. Around that, I'm hitting some open A notes because those are always going to work really nice. We're in the key of A minor. They're going to work great, you know. Sorry, you know, root of our key is A. There's no reason why I can't add in a nice sound off of the open A string. Now, other things are scale lines. You can hear I'm playing this little pentatonic run out of the pentatonic scale, and fits great. You can add them in when there's space. We have all the space that's left when you hit that F chord and it's resonating for that whole second measure. So why not, fill up the space a little bit with a nice run? All right, now some of the interesting stuff's coming up right now, because now we're going to go to like next level chord structures. Now you probably understand if you've been checking out some of my courses, you've been watching my videos over the years. Inside of a chord, we've got both a major interval and a minor interval, and it's going to function like that across as we go from the root to the third and then the third to the fifth. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take a piece of an A minor chord, but we're going to do it here from the C to the E, which is going to formulate a major interval off of that C, and I'm going to do the same effect on the G major chord, and it's going to operate in reverse. So now I'm going B to D, and I'm generating a B minor interval there. So C major interval on the A minor chord, and then B minor interval on that G major chord. And you can tell too, I'm still letting that open A resonate in the bass. On top of that, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to get a perfect fourth interval from a D to a G. I'm going to add in an A on top to give me some, anticipation of the next chord that's coming around. And that's going to be the D major. I'm going from D to F sharp up there to get a D major interval. And I've wrapped up all that harmony up there. I'm completely in the pocket. Sounds really nice, but I've got these extra melodic notes that are riding on the tops of those chords. And then I've got a short scale run, real short, just dropping down from D to the C to the B. And that's it. And then that takes me right back to the top once again to get me to the very beginning of this 4-bar phrase. But we've just taken, something from a very simple bar chording effect, which, pretty much any intermediate level guitar player is going to understand, because, probably you'll have mostly your bar chords will be okay for you. So that's, pretty basic. We also talked about how you could enhance that, layer that with some open chord stuff. But where it gets killer, man, is when you can do rhythm riffs like I just demonstrated, and especially when you can add in some of these nice little passages, when you put the filler lines of the scale passages around everything. It just sounds awesome. So anyway, guys, I hope this has really, opened up your eyes to where all these sounds can go. It's not, ever limited to just one thing on guitar, like, maybe a group of open chords or some barring that you're able to do. There's another layer to all of this, and it's rhythm riffs, and you got to learn how to do them because they sound amazing. So remember that you can get the jam loop and a handout for this over on my Patreon. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/Creative Guitar Studio, and you can pick up the $3 a month membership, $5 a month membership, or the $15. All of them unlock the handout that comes out on Fridays, so you can get that over there. And then also, if you need extra work for your guitar playing studies and skills development, check out my website. It's a different website from Patreon. It's over at creativeguitarstudio.com, and over there I got all my courses. You can study my introductory, intermediate, advanced courses. I've got all my electives like acoustic guitar, guitar technique, guitar, soloing. There's like a whole bunch of stuff over there. Ear training, music reading. You can study it all, and it's very organized, very well organized, chapter by chapter, step by step work. So check that out too, creativeguitarstudio.com. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining me on this video. Remember, the handout is on Patreon, and that again is patreon.com/Creative Guitar Studio. Learning guitar riffs like this will help get you one step closer to becoming the best guitar player that you can be. To learn more, sign up for a free membership today at creativeguitarstudio.com. I have over 30 years experience teaching guitar, and I've written a well-organized step-by-step guitar course. Head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for a free membership today. Join the thousands of members worldwide who have already enrolled. There's no need to learn the guitar on your own. Let me help you become the best guitar player you can be.